doing this today with my colleague and my good friend, Linda Wadud, certified plant-based diabetes educator and nurse. And we are going to be myth-busting cultural and racial barriers to your plant-based lifestyle. So Linda, why is this such an important topic?
You know, I think one of the reasons why it's so important, because, food is like the corner point of where we nourish the body, but often there's a lot of confusion. And so we have to think about family, and we think about health. We have to think about availability of foods and taste, because everybody wants the food to taste good. And so when it comes to the culture and, what am I used to tasting in my mouth, it just changes everything. Everybody just comes to a stop, and it makes the person numb. We don't know what to do. Basically,
it's true. It's
you don't know what to do.
You think, oh, my family and my friends are not going to accept me if I say no, or I don't want to hurt my grandmama's feelings about the meatballs, or I don't want to be a problem and ask for special things in my family.
Yes.
Or my family is going to challenge me.
That's why I don't want to be different. If you want to melt in.
Exactly. I had a client, and she had a sister. So my client had a heart blockage, and she worked with me, and she was not overweight to begin with, not very overweight to begin with. And so when her sister found out that she was doing this, and they were planning a 90th birthday for their dad, and the whole family was coming, and my client was really scared about what her sister was going to say to her, because her sister would say, "You're so skinny already, you don't have to worry about this." But really, my client was saying to herself, I've had a heart attack, and I'm afraid to have another one. And I know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So
that is true. Yes.
She didn't let the barrier stop her. Exactly. But I could see how,
your family. Yep, your family. And then sometimes you got family, you have your friends, and you also have the health industry as well. Because if the plant-based is not familiar and you haven't seen it come through the office enough, they're supporting medications, but we're talking about eating healthier. And so it's a support also that's a barrier.
Isn't it funny
feeling
that
like they gotta go alone?
Isn't it funny that when you start saying to your doctor that you want to eat more fruits and vegetables and grains and beans, he's like, "Oh, you better watch out for that."
Yep, because there's so much misconception. Yes, exactly. Yes. So you have a lot of that. You have a lot of barriers that may be out there. Besides financial, let's see who else, what barriers are you seeing? You have the audience. Also, what are you seeing as a barrier?
Yeah, Linda said coworkers also.
Coworkers, okay. Yes.
Yeah. So while we're waiting to see what they say, some other ones that my group members said were people expecting me to bring that special thing that I always bring to the holidays.
Yeah.
Like, that. How about religion says to eat these foods? So I'm Jewish. And so the traditions of Judaism go back eons.
Oh my gosh.
And it's chicken soup and brisket and gefilte fish and a schmear on a bagel, and the challah is an egg bread, and it's all, animal foods of some kinds. And then there are some traditions that are not very kind that also happen. And so that's like people say, God said it, and so we can't go against that. Like that's a barrier for a lot of people.
It is a barrier. And, you mentioned, you have your culture, you also have the religion can be can be almost seen as a barrier, but even though it's not like a barrier, but it's a way that you spend a great deal of your time. So you think about, you talk about the foods you just described, but now you have church events. You have get-togethers, and then you have the foods that's presented at that time. You share that. I may see, a lot of foods that may be mac and cheese, of course, chicken. You may see like the sweet drinks, a lot of desserts, a lot of the sweets. You may not see a lot of vegetables.
And
that we're
so,
going to be endorsing.
so part of the barrier, one part of the barrier is, oh, people are going to challenge me. But the other part of the barrier is I don't get to eat anything. So if you think that you're not going to be able to eat anything, then that's a barrier. You're like, how am I going to go out in the world and, not be able to eat it?
Exactly. Yes.
What else? Oh, the food can't possibly taste good.
There you go. That's right.
So one of my clients told me this. She said, when I asked her this question about that, she said, West Indians grew up on spices and lots of flavor. We tend to think other people's food is bland and it's too small portions. It's not what I'm used to. She said, American Blacks like hot dogs and burgers and fries and feel they can't possibly be successful on vegetables and fruit. She said, I hear that all the time from friends and family. She said, I wanted to live, so I was willing to do whatever it took. I learned I still have my spices for flavor, and this way of eating, I have big portions.
Yes.
I just had to understand where the cholesterol was coming from and stop eating it. And I'm enjoying my new life. And she reduced her cholesterol from way over 200 down to 163.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Because see, that was an excellent description, because you think about the seasonings. You can still, but I know she learned from you. You can still have the seasonings on the foods, but the foods that cause high fat or cholesterol issues, you leave off.
Yeah.
So you can still do the seasonings, but of course, the salt seasoning is changed, or we take it out, but you can use, oh my gosh, the garlic and the mushrooms and the onions. There are so many other seasonings you can use that will really spice up the meal, and you will enjoy it, and so will family and friends. Let me share this. At one time I did a dish and it didn't say nothing. Best thing to do is say nothing. And I did a dish with all my,
that's what I do.
The basil and thyme, and I just did it up. People tore it up. There was no salt in there at all. Wow. There was no salt in it. Wow. Because when you season it really well with, the onions and garlics and, thyme and basil and all this other stuff.
What you love. If you love smoked paprika, then that's the thing, right?
That's it. Smoked paprikas. So it's a cultural thing, is you're able to take the spices that you have already been using all of your life, and guess what? You can still use those spices. Just take away the salt. That's it.
So
that's it.
So I don't know what you think, but when I work with clients and there's a culture issue or there's a barrier like this where it's about the food and things, I'll ask her, so what is it about the food that makes it so special to you, right? So I had another client named Deepti. She is Indian. And so everything in the Indian way of cooking is you temper those spices in oil. Right? So this is a whole food, plant-based, no oil way of eating. And there was a lot of dairy in there and a lot of oil. So she said, I like it what I like, and you're probably going to fail trying to coach me. And I was like, well, you're paying, so I'm going to do it. So let's go. So now she had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and was diabetic. All right. Her A1C was high. And so she was on medications for all three of those things. And she was about 40 pounds overweight. And she was very, very motivated to get off those medications. So she was going to give it a try. She had been to some cooking classes of mine. So I said, here, you have an Instant Pot. Let's break that thing out and let me show you how we do the spices. And by the way, I learned how to do the Indian spices dry from Dr. Soham Patel, the plant-based endocrinologist, who is Indian, who we've done some live streams with him, and I learned how to do that with him.
Wow,
beautiful. So I taught her, and we made all kinds of recipes.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That she was used to. So we made a dal, we made an undiu, which is a curry, a certain layered curry thing, and then we made some things that she was, curious about, like summer rolls and falafels and stuff. And what we did is we added her spice profile to it.
Wow. There you
So
go.
in the dipping sauce for summer rolls, we
Okay.
added cumin and curry
Okay.
to make it more what
More
she would
tasting. Oh, wow.
have for her.
Oh man, that tastes, I can taste it in my mouth. I know that tasted good.
Yeah. So then, what she started to lose weight immediately. She was
Wow.
eating these foods. She wasn't starving anymore. She didn't have the
Okay.
craving for the junk food.
Okay.
And when she went back to the doctor 12 weeks later, she was in the normal range on all of her
Oh
blood
my
tests.
gosh.
And
That's
the doctor
beautiful.
was able to take her off of all the meds. And what she
Wow.
said to me was,
Uh-huh.
I didn't know how I was going to get through missing my Indian food, but
Wow.
I learned how to put my flavors into whatever I'm eating. And now I eat
Wow.
all of this food and I'm showing my family.
Oh wow.
So,
Oh wow. See, so you not only touched her, it goes to her family
yeah.
and it spins out.
And that was her why,
Wow.
was to show her family, because
Wow.
her son has high blood pressure and she
Okay.
wanted
Okay.
to show them. So the whole thing about that, the food can't possibly taste good is a big one. And so when you
Yes.
have a coach, I'm sure you do this too, you
We
work.
start with what they like. We start with the foods they're used to. And I help build the foods up to,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and let's plan 2 meals for this week. Let's break it apart. And I may actually start writing their meals down and you start
That they
creating
love. Yeah.
meals based on their taste. So that's so important. It's just definitely based on their taste.
Let's see who says hi. Lisa, nice to see you here.
Yeah.
Sharon, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
This is Linda Wadud, a certified plant-based diabetes educator. I know you would be interested in seeing that.
Yes.
So what we still have a couple more barriers. What about body image? What about body image?
You think about what we see all the time. We see it on the TV, we see it in the magazines, and among your family and friends. A lot of folks say, to be attractive, you got to have the curves. Women want to have curves for to be attractive. And when you think about that as a barrier, we're actually going to talk about eating healthy helps you from the inside out. Yeah. So when you clean up the inside, oh my gosh,
the outside shines.
The outside shines so well, but you have the energy to move around and you can outbeat anybody else your age because you're healthier.
A health eater. I like that.
Oh my God, you're a health eater, definitely.
So here's the thing. We need to be healthy. We need to be healthy. So some women like to be curvy. Some women like to be athletic looking. Some women like to feel better thinner. Yes. And some people don't want to be too thin. So the thing about the CDC BMI calculator and weight chart is that it is created for disease prevention and ultimate health. And most women are like, oh, I don't believe in those charts.
Right.
But the thing about this particular one is that it has a more than 30-pound weight range in its range for healthy for your height. Right. And so this takes into account someone who has a bigger build, someone who has more muscle, somebody who wants to be curvier, or somebody like me, for example, as a breast cancer survivor, being overweight stimulates estrogen production, and that is not good for estrogen-fed breast cancer. So I want to be on the slighter side. So this gives me a window, like a whole range where I can find myself right here if I want. Right. But somebody who wants to be more muscular, more heavier can be here. Somebody who likes to be light and thin can be down here, or has small bones. So we want to eat for health, a health eater, like you said.
And if you eat for health, it's when you know what your target is, everything that you start doing takes you to that target. And so, having the 30 point change allows the flexibility, but you got to be able to put your finger at something. It becomes part of your goal. So as you start eating healthier and knowing what foods are put on your plate, makes a big difference. We talked about the seasonings on the plate. We talked about being around some family, maybe friends, but it starts with yourself first. You yourself will decide how are you going to move forward. And so let's talk about, the sense also sometimes is you may not know enough about plant-based. What is really being healthy? Because we talk about healthy, right? We throw the term out, but some people don't even know what healthy really is. And so
how would you define that?
Well, I think healthy would be defined as you vibrate and move through the day. It starts with you sleeping well. It starts when you get up and planning your meal for the day. It starts with having an idea of what you're going to eat for the week, and not just be a jump up, get dressed, run out the door, and I'll hit anything that's edible on the way to work.
It's thinking about, it's having a thoughtful presence.
Have a thoughtful presence. And when you start doing that, then
everything changes.
It changes everything. Because if you are just jumping up, running out the door, just grabbing everything, you're not being healthy, because you're just taking anything that goes and you're justifying why you had to eat it. Whereas when you plan, you now are more in control of yourself and what takes place. In
control, and you have the power to say what takes place. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Absolutely. So this leads me to think about, like, a lot of people, the barrier is that they just don't understand what is a plant-based lifestyle. Exactly. So they might think, how am I going to have a permanent lifestyle eating fruits and vegetables all the time? What am I going to go from hot dogs and hamburgers and grits to fruits and vegetables? So,
no, but actually, the issue when you talk about the plant-based way of eating, if you take the plate, you have the vegetables. So yes, you still have fruits, but you also have carbohydrates. A lot of folks think so maybe the misconception is, remember, no potato, you can't eat no potatoes. You can never have no potatoes, no whole grains, so those are the foods that the plate then only looks like vegetables. And so when you think about planning your meals, when you think about plant-based, you're eating the foods that are naturally pulled out of the earth, that's healthy for you, and half the plate is vegetables. But there is a potato, there is legumes and beans, and oh my gosh, and you can get full off your plate. A lot of people think, oh my God, you can't get full.
Have you seen my recipes? Have you scrolled my website? Oh my God. We love to eat. In the Plant Power Preppers Club, where we cook together, we love to eat. Yeah. So the food groups are fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. So now if you think about that, you're like, oh, rice and beans, and corn on the cob. I love rice and beans. And then all of a sudden a woman is like, oh.
Yes.
Oh, I love home fries. You mean I can put a whole bunch of vegetables with those home fries and that hot sauce?
Oh my goodness. Season it up. Season it up.
How about grits? Grits made with veggie broth and nutritional yeast and some sauteed veggies, or black beans thrown on there.
Absolutely. That's my favorite, the black beans. It changes, because you think about, some folks look at the grits and they like the wetness over it. Okay. So, the wetness for a lot of folks have been cheese and gravy, eggs and butter, all that. Whereas you still get the wetness, but if you do black beans or mixed beans, actually you can take any bean soup. That's one of my favorites. Any bean soup, and put it over a little bit of grits. Everybody knows in my family, I love that, because it's so wet. Nutritional yeast. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Right.
So I developed that grits recipe when I was working with that client. So that's what we do. We break down the barriers, but you got to be open to learning more, because if you come to it with the thought, well, that won't work for me because anything you say after the because
Yes, it's down. Yeah,
is going to make that come true. You're not going to
that's
be
right.
able to be successful. So you got to be open to it the way the Indian woman was. She was open
Exactly.
to it. She wanted it so much. The way this other client was who had a heart attack, she was open to it because she was saving her own life.
That's correct. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's not cutting it short because, women and cardiovascular disease, it's becoming cardiovascular disease among women. It's like, it's up, it's high.
It's
And
real
so
high.
it's very high. So when you do eat plant-based, the plant-based eating doesn't make a difference on your ethnicity. Because that was one thing. They think that it was only for one group of people, not for the other. It's for everybody. And if we really kind of
Everybody.
pull away all the leaves and really look at it, all cultures had already been doing plant-based. People have told me, don't talk about it. I don't want you to say plant-based. Okay. The plate is still half vegetables. They like to take away plant-based, but when you look at how they're eating, it's plant-based. And so it's the term sometimes, but let's talk about it being real, that it is for everybody. But when you start looking at plant-based meals, plant-based communities, you are able to identify with a person or a group that you can rub shoulders with and you have support. It is important to understand that plant-based eating works for everybody. And if you start tuning into Naomi and read articles on plant-based, you will recognize there are so many resources out there. Because being connected, or even for myself, it is so important to be connected. So you're learning something totally new.
So that's why I run a Facebook group that has thousands of people in it that are women, only for women.
Yes.
And that's so that women have a private place to talk about things that are important to women. I specialize in women. And this works great for men too, but I don't specialize in men. So what actually happens is the husbands of my women clients also lose weight, and they lose more weight than their wives, and they piss their wives off that way.
I know it does, but yes.
But when you come in a group like that, you see all types of women.
Yes.
Reversing high blood pressure, reversing high cholesterol, reversing pre-diabetes and insulin-dependent diabetes and chronic pain and autoimmune conditions and so many things that you have to see a glimmer of motivation and inspiration and hope that you can do it too, and that it's going to be delicious. And whatever obstacles are going to come up, you can take them one at a time instead of worrying so much
about everything
beforehand and then not even acting.
That's right, Naomi. Excellent. That is absolutely true. I wanted to bring that community part in because that is really, to me, it's the main key to success, is having that community.
Having a community. So you don't think you're on an island alone.
That is correct. And I wanted to say that.
Up against your family.
Right, up against your family, because you're going to have challenges that comes in, but having that support or that shoulder to lean on, or having a person to be able to help change that meal for you. Without being in the dark, you can be open up, and it helps not only yourself, but you're helping other people around you as well. Absolutely.
So just to be really clear, the medical evidence for the health benefits of a whole food, plant-based, no oil way of eating are the same for all different races and cultures, whether it is Asian, African American, Italian, Mexican, Jews, Caucasians, all the people. And they actually started doing this research in China. So that's the Asians. It wasn't even,
over here.
white people over here in America.
Nope.
Shopping at Whole Foods. No, it was people who lived their life on rice. And then, they did all kinds of research on the blue zones, which is all different cultural hotspots where people live to over 100, and they found out that they have primarily plant-based diets.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct.
So nothing needs to be done special except to find out what food you will love. That's all that needs to be done.
Yes. Just to me, it's just to say yes and to
Say
just
yes.
say yes. I mean,
Give
that's
it a
my thing.
try.
Give it a try. Because if you don't give it a try, you don't know where you'll be in the same place a month from now, 3 months from now.
If you
So
don't
just
give
get
it
rid
a
of all the
try.
barriers and just go for it. Say, yes, I want to go ahead and give it a try. Let
And
me see how it
you
works.
know, those barriers, we discussed them all. They can feel true,
Yes,
but you can simply step over them with some thought and
Yeah.
with some hand holding and with a little
Yes.
research and with
Yeah.
the trying
You're
and
right.
with the inspiration for changing your life in the most dramatic way.
Wow.
You can
Yes,
step over them. All you have to do is say yes.
that's it. All you have to do is say yes. Oh, you see. Oh, that's
Wow.
beautiful. Yes.
That's a great way to, that's a great way. Is there anything else that you want to talk about that we missed? I think we said
No,
it all.
actually, I think we have hit it. Because I think that one thing, you know, when you talk about the foods and the changes, and I think we've touched about it. You can use your same foods, it's the seasonings. Again, one was the seasonings, because I think that's a
Yeah.
big issue for culture, because it makes you feel comfortable and you're around your family. And I think that's really
Yeah.
good.
A
I think
lot of
community-
times what my clients do is they find things that they love and then they bring it to their family. And we talk about how to deal with your grandmama and how to talk to your mother and
Yes.
how to talk to your friend and how to
and
deal
your
with
spouse.
restaurants.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and you try these things and you try what works for you,
Yeah.
because the most important person in this whole equation is you.
Yes, yes. And working with you is the most important part. You know, saying yes to yourself. When you say yes, you're saying yes to yourself.
Yes
And
to
that
your
has to be
life.
number one. You have to do that first. And no, so when I was looking to see, you know, everything we had planned to talk about, we've covered it,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
want to end it on saying yes. Let's just
Yes.
see what, let's just see.
because I don't see them
Um,
writing. So we'll see what they say. And
Yeah,
yes,
Mary Grace, it's nice to see you here.
yay, Mary.
Yay. Okay. People were expecting this in my private Facebook group. So the people who are watching on here are people who are also my friends. So we're
Okay.
not having the whole thing. Margaret, nice to see you here. Fabulous. Okay. What I'm going to end up doing is,
Gotta post this.
posting it in the group where it was meant to
Yeah,
be. But you know what? Who knows who is going to see this, who needs to see this.
exactly.
And so however it worked out, and we made
Yeah.
it work. And this,
Yes.
that's an example of how you move through a big transformation with a plant-based lifestyle. You just go for it.
Keep going. Yeah,
You
keep going.
keep going. Something happened, like our plan didn't work for tonight. We
Yep.
did it anyway. And
You just keep moving it, keep doing it, because somebody out there is going to take this information and say, I'm ready. And
I'm
I say,
ready.
yes.
Yeah.
That's what we want you to do. Say
Say yes to yourself. Give it
Yeah.
a try, and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you
All right.
so much, Linda, for
You're welcome.
your
Thank
time
you, Naomi.
and
No
your expertise and your
Yes.
energy and
Yes.
for shedding the inspiration that this way of life is for everybody who wants to take back their health.
Absolutely. Take it back, say yes, and your energy level and your confidence will skyrocket. There is nothing nothing more that you can even ever want is to have energy and be clear-minded. That is to saying yes.
That's
All right,
saying yes.
Naomi.
All right, everybody.
Take care.
Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.